All right, so today we're diving into a career that's seriously heating up right now, energy manager. And I'm not just talking about switching to LED light bulbs. We're going way deeper
Much deeper.
with RoleCatcher, this amazing career platform that's giving us the inside scoop on what these energy gurus really do. Like, how do you even start down this path?
It's interesting. RoleCatcher really highlights that balance energy managers need. It's not just about being passionate about the environment, though that definitely
Oh,
helps.
of course. Yeah.
But you got to be a bit of a crosscutter, too. They have to be able to speak the language of sustainability, A&D at the bottom line.
Absolutely. And RoleCatcher has these real-world examples to back it up. Case studies of energy managers convincing their companies to invest in things like solar panels.
Right.
And not just because it's good for the planet, but because it actually makes financial sense in the long run.
It's so smart because you're not just appealing to people's good intentions, which is important, but you're speaking their language,
Yeah.
dollars and cents. But that made me think about the challenges energy managers face when trying to convince everyone to get on board. What does RoleCatcher say about that?
Well, they get into the nitty-gritty of stakeholder dynamics, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
They give this example of an energy manager who had this amazing plan to retrofit all the lighting in a huge office building with super efficient LEDs, the whole 9 yards.
Makes sense. Less energy use, smaller electricity bills.
Right. Sounds like a no-brainer. But there's a catch. The upfront costs were significant. So this energy manager had to get buy-in, not just from the sustainability folks, but from finance, operations, even the CEO. They had to build a rock-solid business case, complete with all the numbers, projected savings, payback periods, everything.
Okay, so it's not enough to just have the data. You have to know how to tell the story in a way that resonates with all these different decision makers.
Exactly. And that's something RoleCatcher really stresses. Tailoring your message to your audience. They even give specific tips on how to do that effectively, which I thought was super helpful. But let's back up for a second.
Okay.
Let's say you're fresh out of college. You're passionate about sustainability, but you're like, okay, how do I actually become an energy manager? What does that entry-level world look like according to RoleCatcher?
Well, they paint this picture of someone who's not afraid to roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty. Literally. Think conducting energy audits.
Energy audits.
Yeah.
For our listeners who might not be familiar.
Oh, right.
What is an energy audit?
Basically, it's like giving a building a checkup.
Right.
But instead of looking for leaky faucets, you're looking for things that are wasting energy.
Like energy hogs.
Exactly. Inefficient heating systems, old appliances, lights being left on when no one's around. It's about finding ways to reduce consumption and save money.
So an entry-level energy manager, they might be tasked with helping with these audits.
Exactly. Working alongside more experienced energy managers, learning how to use the equipment, analyzing the data, coming up with recommendations for improvement. It's like an apprenticeship
Oh, I like that.
for the energy-saving superhero you're about to become.
So what about education? What's the ideal background for an aspiring energy manager?
RoleCatcher highlights a few paths. It's not as simple as saying you need this specific degree.
Okay.
Obviously, something like environmental science or sustainable energy is a great foundation.
Sure.
But degrees like engineering, even business administration can be relevant.
Because you're thinking about systems, you're managing projects.
Exactly. Especially if you have a focus on sustainability or maybe some extra certifications. Speaking of which, RoleCatcher lists some of the key certifications employers look for, like the CEM,
What?
the Certified Energy Manager credential. They even explain how their platform can connect you with resources to help you earn it. Talk about going above and beyond.
It's like they're saying, hey, we know this job market is competitive, so here are some extra tools to help you stand out.
Exactly. And it gets even better. They have a whole section on building your resume and absolutely crushing those job interviews.
Oh, man, the interview. That's always the most nerve-wracking part for me.
Well, get this. They have this database of over 120,000 interview questions. And these aren't just generic questions. They're specific to different careers, skills, experience levels, the whole shebang.
Wait, so they have questions specifically for aspiring energy managers. That's amazing.
It's incredible.
But how are you supposed to even know where to begin with 120,000 questions?
That's the cool part. They use AI to analyze all those questions and identify common themes and patterns.
Wow.
So you can focus on the types of questions that are most likely to come up in an energy manager interview. It's like having a cheat sheet.
Oh, that would have been nice to have back in the day.
Right. And it gets even cooler. RoleCatcher offers AI-powered feedback on your answers. You can record yourself answering these questions, and their system analyzes your delivery, content, even your tone of voice,
Are you serious?
and then gives you personalized tips on how to improve. It's like having a personal coach in your pocket.
Okay, RoleCatcher is officially blowing my mind. This is next-level career prep. But let's not forget about the actual career path itself. We've talked about entry level, but where do you go from there?
That's where it gets really interesting. RoleCatcher actually maps out different career paths for energy managers. You can climb the corporate ladder or even branch out on your own as a consultant.
Ooh, intriguing.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more about these different paths. So before we went on this tangent about interview questions, we were talking about different career paths for energy managers. So you land that energy manager job, then what? Where do you go from there?
That's what I love about RoleCatcher. They don't just leave you hanging after you get the job. They map out these different career trajectories, and one path they highlight is that classic upward climb within an organization.
Okay, so you start as an entry level, maybe helping with those energy audits, and then what?
As you gain more experience, you start taking on more responsibility, moving from the passenger seat to behind the wheel, you know?
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But what does that look like in terms of actual day-to-day work?
RoleCatcher, they provide these really interesting example profiles of energy managers at different stages in their careers.
Oh, cool.
Like they have one for a junior energy manager, and they're not just identifying energy-saving opportunities anymore, they're actually leading the charge on implementing those solutions.
So instead of just saying, hey, we should switch to LED lighting, they're figuring out all the logistics.
Exactly. Sourcing the materials, maybe even managing the contractors who do the installation. They're becoming project managers, budget gurus, even negotiators, all while keeping that big picture sustainability goal in mind.
It's like they're becoming sustainability ninjas.
Totally. And then as they climb that ladder, moving into a senior energy manager role, their responsibilities become even more strategic.
So what does a senior energy manager actually do, according to RoleCatcher?
Imagine this. You're not just focused on one building or department, you're developing the entire energy strategy for the whole organization.
Wow, that's a big job.
It is. You're looking at everything from renewable energy investments to employee engagement programs, maybe even partnering with other companies on sustainability initiatives.
You're like the CEO of sustainability.
Basically. And RoleCatcher, they actually give real-world examples of companies that have created these high-level sustainability leadership positions.
So this isn't just some fantasy, it's actually happening.
Exactly. It's a career path with serious upward mobility.
Okay, I'm starting to see why energy manager is such a hot career right now. But what about those who are maybe a little more entrepreneurial, who don't necessarily want to climb the corporate ladder?
RoleCatcher has a whole section on alternative career paths, and one they highlight is becoming an energy consultant.
So instead of working for one company, you're like a sustainability consultant for hire.
Yes. You're bringing your expertise to all sorts of different clients, tackling different kinds of projects.
That sounds really cool.
Can be. You might be doing energy audits for small businesses one day and then developing a renewable energy strategy for a huge corporation the next.
That's amazing. But going out on your own, that takes guts. What does RoleCatcher say about the skills you need to succeed as a consultant?
Well, obviously you need all those technical skills we talked about, but they also emphasize the importance of business acumen.
Because now you're not just an energy manager, you're running your own business.
Exactly. So things like marketing, client management, even basic accounting become really important. But don't worry, RoleCatcher has you covered. They have connections to all sorts of resources, things like online courses, mentorship programs.
Okay, so they're not just throwing you to the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving you the tools you need.
Exactly. They even have information about funding opportunities for starting your own sustainability consulting firm.
It's like they've thought of everything. So we've talked about the corporate path, the consultant route, but is there anything else? What about the bigger picture? Like, why is this whole energy manager thing so important right now?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting, and we'll dive into that right after this.
So we've talked about all these different career paths, but let's zoom out a bit. What's the bigger picture here? Why should anyone care about this whole energy manager thing?
Well, RoleCatcher doesn't just focus on the individual job seeker. They connect the dots to the larger trends shaping the industry. And one thing they make very clear is that sustainability is not a passing fad.
Right? It seems like everyone's looking for ways to be more energy efficient these days.
Absolutely. And companies are realizing that it's not enough to just talk about sustainability. They need people who can actually implement solutions. And that's where energy managers come in.
They're the ones who can turn those ideas into action.
Exactly. They have the knowledge and the skills to make sustainability goals a reality. And RoleCatcher backs this up with some pretty compelling data. For example, they cite studies showing that demand for energy managers is growing at a much faster rate than average for other occupations.
Okay, so it's a career with a future.
Oh, absolutely. And the salary potential is definitely there. But here's another interesting thing RoleCatcher found.
Okay.
This career path is attracting people from all sorts of backgrounds. It's not just engineers or environmental science folks anymore. You see people with business degrees, even those with backgrounds in communications or marketing, making the leap into sustainability.
It makes sense when you think about it. You need those people skills, right? To get everyone on board with your vision.
Exactly. You have to communicate sometimes complex ideas in a way that resonates with different audiences. It's really about finding the right mix of technical skills and people skills.
So it's really about being passionate about sustainability and having the drive to make a difference.
Absolutely. And that's what I appreciate about RoleCatcher. They highlight all these different entry points and alternative paths. They show that there's no one right way to become an energy manager.
You find the path that fits your skills and your interests.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher is there to give you the tools and resources to make it happen, whether it's those AI-powered interview prep tools or the career guides and industry insights. It's an amazing resource.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
If you're looking for a career that's both personally and professionally rewarding, a career where you can have a real impact on the world, then look no further than Energy Manager. And if you're ready to take that next step, RoleCatcher can help you get there.
I love it. Well, that's it for this deep dive, everyone. We hope you found it informative and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Until next time.